what the evolutionary psychologists get wrong. And I'm not going to be merciful on these guys because they have really led us astray, and it's not their fault because they came up with a certain theory without talking about the limitations. And there's some people that just dug into that as the answers to mate selection, and they gained a huge following on the internet without really deserving it because it's a lot of bullshit. One thing, most of their research, as far as I can tell, comes from questionnaires and surveys. So they give men and women different photos to look at and see who people will go for. But you see, in real life, people don't choose each other based on photos. They choose each other based on how they get along, how much they have in common, how well they fit into each other's lives. And these evolutionary psychologists are not studying real couples or giving us data on actual couples who are married. If you really want to know what women are attracted to, what men are attracted to, you've got to take real couples and then do your questionnaires on real couples, and maybe even do like a penis-ometer and a vaginal-ometer to see how turned on is the woman by her guy, how turned on is the guy by his woman, and measure their relationship satisfaction, and also ask them how they met and so on. That's what I would do. So that's the first thing. And because people have, that's the first problem, is that they're assessing attraction based on questionnaires rather than on real couples. Okay, so that's a very, very superficial analysis. I mean, you can show me a picture of some guy and I'll be like, yeah, he's hot. But would I want to date him? I don't know. After one date, I might think he's a loser. Number two, it doesn't account for how we actually, historically, through millions of years, they're talking about they're evolutionary psychologists, but they're ignoring our evolution. They're ignoring the fact that historically we lived in tribes. I want to repeat this. We lived in tribes of 100 to 150 people until about 10,000 years ago when the agricultural age started. Now, this is very important because a lot of myths about our evolution come about because we forget about how we lived for 99% of our human evolution in tribes. And the agricultural age is relatively new. So when we lived in tribes, there was no pair bonding per se that we know of. Everyone knew each other, everyone was related, and people were nomadic, like they would move around. They didn't own property. So in a way, they probably lived more in tune with nature. And the men would do the hunting, but catching something was rare. So the majority of food was actually provided by the women. The women provided the resources. The women provided most of the food, and the women provided the children. Women were very empowered, and no one knew who the father was, and it didn't matter. What mattered was being cooperative, being trusting, relying on each other, and survival. And when you are stuck with 100 or 150 people and you're trying to survive, you share everything. If this guy catches the deer, he's going to share it with everyone because maybe in 2 months this guy catches the deer and he's going to share it with everyone. All the men hunted for all of the tribe. All the women gathered food for all of the tribe. Everyone raised all the children. I think that the child death rate was probably pretty high, and women died in childbirth and all of that. Um, so it was tribal. Men spread their seeds and women spread their legs. There was no men are just there to fuck and women are hypergamous. That didn't exist. That's a conception that some people in the manosphere have made up. But I'll tell you where that came from actually. Now, another thing that the evolutionary psychologists get wrong, number 3, is that people have free will and people are adaptive. People adapt to their environment and they make rational choices in their best interest. Okay? So the way that someone behaved in a tribe was no longer the way that they behaved in the agricultural age. In the agricultural age, men started owning property. Somehow they were given property. I don't know how it all happened. Farming started, food became more constant. People didn't have to live in nomadic tribes anymore. They could stay in one place and grow food. They could grow communities and cities. And then the industrial age started. And people, since men had property, and then they to get women, that's when this whole thing started of what we call hypergamy, because women couldn't work and women couldn't vote and women couldn't own property. So women were very helpless, and any intelligent woman would know. I mean, we had outliers like Amelia Earhart and, some of the feisty women of the Westerns. But a woman would know, if I want to be somebody, if I don't want to die in abject poverty, which most people did, I need to find a place of resources to provide for me. And since it wasn't women who had the power, they didn't go gay, they looked for the man who could provide. And so the father would give his daughter to the man. She went from her father who provided to the man who provided. Now, if only women could have owned property, then men would have looked for the richest woman. This is a rational choice. It is not biological. It is not freaking evolutionary psychology that women want the richest guy. It's what made sense. So evolutionary psychologists are really leading us astray. It made sense. And because someone has to take care of the children, it was usually the woman. We are the nurturers. We are more devoted to our babies than men are. So that's our biology for sure. I'm not saying that we're not different, but I'm saying that it's not that women are gold diggers and men are out to spread their seed. Those things are a lie. I'm not saying that there aren't some women who are entitled, selfish gold diggers. I'm not saying that there's some men who are entitled cheaters, but it's not in our innate biology. A lot of this is learned as well. So if a woman is taught from early childhood that that a man is there to protect and provide, she will do that automatically because society expects it and encourages it. Now, there was a shift. A lot of women today were taught something very different. You don't need a man. You can provide for yourself. And as women have been able to have more power and autonomy, and in the knowledge economy, you don't need muscle to make money. You can make money sitting in a chair using your brain. And women are making more money. They're no longer looking for men who make more money. The majority of women are in relationships with men who earn the same amount. So where is the hypergamy? It is not there because women are making rational choices. If you grew up in an era where you have power and can make money, you don't look to a man just for money. You look to a man that you actually get along with. And that's where we are now. People are rational. It's the same as, I grew up my dad's from Iran. When he moved to Turkey, he spoke Turkish. When he moved to Germany, he learned German and he went to medical school. In Turkey, he was a bricklayer. In Germany, he went to medical school. Then he was a pathologist. Then he did cancer research. Then we moved to the US and he spoke English. It's called being adaptable. I do the same in my business. I'm adaptable. When I was an escort, when Backpage went down, a lot of people were freaking out. I stayed very calm. What do I need to do? How can I adapt? It's called being adaptable. Okay? How else can I make money? When I divorced my husband, I didn't go after his money. We split everything in half. I went to my local courthouse and I filed for divorce. No lawyer, no plundering. Where's your frickin' hypergamy? I'm so tired of these men saying that women are hypergamous or I'm never going to get married because women take my money. That's the legal system that's to blame. But part of that is that the legal system hasn't caught up with women's ability to earn, and a woman who has children and drops out of the workforce is financially hindered and incapacitated, and it will take her time to catch up. So guys, if you want to get married to a woman who isn't going to plunder you, look for someone with the following attributes. The women who plunder you, have these attributes, in my opinion. I'm a victim. I'm helpless. You owe me. Everything that happens to me is your fault. You're responsible for me. I'm helpless. My worth is how much money I have. And also these women will do a lot of things. They're very interested in their looks. Like a Kim Kardashian woman, very superficial with all of her fake body parts. A woman who's actually kind and nourishing and relational, who pulls her own weight in the relationship. Stay away from women who just want to sit around and get their nails done. Look for someone who cleans her house, washes her car, cooks dinner, not entitled. Some of you guys are just picking bad women. Okay? And I actually know of women who had to pay child support because the courts go after who earned the most money. But definitely if you get married, I would look for a woman who is relational, who's also working, and who keeps working part-time so that her career skills don't become dormant. And at the same time, remember that someone has to take care of the children. Who's going to take care of the children? Are these people? So many people just seem to hate children these days. They're more interested in having pets. I don't need children. I have my dogs. I don't need children. I have my cats. I don't need a man. I have my pets. So that exists as well. But so to sum it up, the evolutionary psychologists have theories that are pretty poorly substantiated, but there are certain men in the manosphere who have a large following who use these theories and their twisted views about women to drive home the point that all women are just after money, like the women are just there to greet you at the finish line. That is not true. There are so many women who help their men build. They help their man build. I think the problem is a lot of these men just don't know how to find a decent woman. I would also stay away from women who sound... I come across some of these YouTube videos of women who are just so bossy and bitchy. Okay, I think you can also tell a lot by a woman's voice, because I noticed, I sometimes listen to videos as I fall asleep, and there's certain ones I always can fall asleep to. My friend Tranquility, who makes videos, something about her voice, and then I noticed it's these women that were dating narcissists. These women that are very empathic and they're very kind. Their voices are very soothing. But there are other ones whose voices are very shrill, like they're very angry. I hate to rain on the lady on Breaking Points. I won't even say her name, but I had to stop watching that because her voice is very high pitched and shrill. And maybe that is a way to weed out women, is to find someone whose voice is calm and soothing. And stay away from these women who are very superficially in their looks, like the fake breasts and the fakey, and who need to spend a lot of money on their looks. Like everything is about looks and appearances. Stay away from people where everything is about looks and appearances. Go for women who like to garden and get their hands dirty, or pick flowers. Like, look for someone who's in tune with nature, not so much into the superficialities of life. I don't even know if that's enough, because I don't even know. I would love, okay, here's the thing. Those of you who are struggling with finding decent women, I would love for you to email me and send me like YouTube videos of women that you find, attractive, that you might want to date. And I will, without giving your name, read it on the air, so to speak, and tell you what I think about these women. I don't want to put anybody down, but maybe I'll just do it privately. I'll just email you back privately. That's what I'll do. And I'll tell you what I think of these women at first glance, just me as a woman, as a mother, and as a grandmother. And I also would like to get your letters and have and try to give you like some advice on the air about your personal situations. So please email me at schahrzadmorgan@gmail.com. And thank you so much for watching my video.